One of them can snap his fingers and wipe out half the universe. Another once tried to shoot himself, but the bullet came back out. The third slept for 70 years. The fourth lost literally everything: his brother, his father, even his homeworld. And the fifth looked into 14 million possible futures and saw victory in only one of them. Today, we're breaking down 5 legendary Avengers, and what you're about to learn will shock you. Let's go. Hello everyone, you're watching 25th Frame, and today we have a special episode. We're diving into the 5 most iconic Avengers: Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Thor, and Doctor Strange. But this isn't a simple recap. We're revealing dark secrets, insane facts, and shocking moments you might have never heard before. Ready? Let's begin with the man who launched the entire Marvel empire. Iron Man, a genius with a broken heart. Imagine this. You're the smartest man on the planet. You're a billionaire. But there's one thing you still can't fix: a shard of metal 2 centimeters from your heart, ready to kill you at any moment. That's Tony Stark. And his story begins in a cave in Afghanistan, where terrorists wanted him to build them weapons. Crazy fact: Stan Lee originally created Tony Stark to be hated. A capitalist, a weapons manufacturer, a playboy during the Vietnam War. Lee wanted to see if such a character could still win people's hearts. And he did. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't the studio's first choice. They hesitated because of his past with addiction. But director Jon Favreau insisted. Who better to play a genius with self-destructive tendencies than someone who actually lived through it? Remember the line, "I am Iron Man," at the end of the first film? It was improvised. That one improv changed the entire MCU. Because in the comics, Tony hid his identity for years. The dark side. In the comics, Tony struggles with severe alcoholism. The demon in a bottle storyline shows him losing his company, his friends, nearly killing people while drunk in the armor. His worst enemy isn't a villain, it's himself. Another insane detail: Tony built armor to defeat every Avenger in case they ever lost control. Hulk armor, plans against Thor, strategies against Captain America. He didn't fully trust even his allies. Tony appears in 10 Marvel films, more than any other character. And when he snapped with the Infinity Gauntlet, he knew he wouldn't survive. His final words, "I love you 3000, weren't in the script. That's what his real daughter used to tell him. Tony started as a selfish billionaire playboy and ended as a man who gave his life for the universe. No superpowers, no serum, just a genius in a metal suit. Hulk, a monster with a shattered soul. Now let's talk about the most unpredictable Avenger, the man who carries a monster inside him, Bruce Banner. Hulk is the only Avenger who has been played by 3 different actors in the MCU: Eric Bana, Edward Norton, and Mark Ruffalo. Wild fact: Ruffalo initially turned the role down. He thought he wasn't right for it, until Robert Downey Jr. called him and said, "Ruffalo, let's go. We've got this." Hulk's backstory is darker than many fans realize. In the comics, Bruce grew up in a violent household. His alcoholic father beat him and his mother, and eventually killed her in front of him. This trauma caused dissociative identity disorder long before gamma radiation. Hulk isn't just rage. He's Bruce's suppressed trauma made flesh. In The Incredible Hulk, there was a deleted scene. Bruce goes to the Arctic to end his life. He puts the pistol in his mouth, pulls the trigger, and Hulk spits the bullet back out. In Avengers, Bruce says quietly, "I put a bullet in my mouth, and the other guy spit it out." Bruce tried to die, but even death isn't available to him. Fun fact, Hulk's voice was performed by Lou Ferrigno, the actor who played Hulk in the 1970s TV series. He even helped Ruffalo train the voice. A beautiful generational connection. In Thor Ragnarok, Hulk spent 2 full years on Sakaar without turning back into Bruce. For the first time, Hulk existed as a separate personality, with speech, memories, emotions. He became a true character, not just a rage monster. In Endgame, we see Professor Hulk, Bruce's mind in Hulk's body. In the comics, this fusion was even more complicated. Bruce literally had to negotiate peace with the other personalities inside his own mind. Hulk's tragedy. He isn't a villain. He's a victim of his father, of a dangerous experiment, of fate itself. All he wants is to be left alone. But the world won't leave him alone. And the more they chase him, the stronger he becomes. Captain America. A man out of time. Steve Rogers, the first Avenger. A living legend. A man who slept for 70 years and woke up in a world that didn't remember him. Insane fact. Captain America was created in 1941 as a propaganda hero to fight Nazis. On the cover of his first comic, he's punching Hitler in the face. This was a year before the US even entered World War II. The creators received death threats from Nazi sympathizers, but they kept going. Chris Evans originally turned down the role 3 times. He feared fame and the pressure it would bring. But Robert Downey Jr. convinced him. Listen, all of this fame stuff fades, but characters live forever. You're not doing this for yourself. You're doing it for millions of people who need a hero. Steve's tragedy is that he's a man from another time. He goes on dates with women 30 years younger. He listens to music from a list people gave him to catch up. Everyone he knew is gone. Peggy Carter, the love of his life, grew old and died while he slept. In the first Avenger, there's a heartbreaking scene. Steve wakes up in the modern day, realizes 70 years have passed, runs out into Times Square, and just stands there, lost. Nick Fury tells him, "You've been asleep, Cap. You've lost a lot." Steve answers, "I've lost everything." But what makes Steve special is that he doesn't break. He could have become bitter, angry, resentful. Instead, he becomes a symbol of hope. I can do this all day. Not a joke, but the core of who he is. In Endgame, Steve lifts Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, proving what Thor always knew. Steve was worthy. He always was. Not because he was strong, but because he was pure-hearted. And the end of his story? Steve returns to the past to be with Peggy, finally gets the dance he missed, and lives the life he was denied. Old Steve hands the shield to Sam Wilson with the words, "Try it on." His journey is complete. A soldier finally found his way home. Thor, a god who lost everything. Thor Odinson, the god of thunder, prince of Asgard, and a man who has endured more loss than any Avenger. Here's what's wild. Thor is the only Avenger who is literally a god. He's 1,500 years old. He fought battles when humanity still lived in caves. But Marvel did something brilliant. They made him human. In the first Thor movie, he's an arrogant prince, banished to Earth without his powers. He learns humility. He learns that being a hero comes from character, not strength. Then the losses begin. In Thor, the Dark World, his mother Frigga dies. In Ragnarok, his father Odin dies. Then all his warrior friends, Hogun, Volstagg, Fandral, are killed. Hela destroys Mjolnir. Asgard itself is annihilated. His people almost wiped out. Then, at the beginning of Infinity War, Thanos kills half of the surviving Asgardians, kills Heimdall, Thor's closest friend, kills Loki right in front of him. Imagine that. In just a few days, Thor lost his mother, his father, his brother, his friends, his home, and his people. And what does he do? He goes to forge new weaponry, Stormbreaker. He endures the power of a dying star to create it. He arrives in Wakanda and nearly kills Thanos with a single blow. "You should have gone for the head," Thanos says. And that breaks Thor. In Endgame, we see a defeated Thor. He gains weight, plays video games, drinks beer. He gives up. It's real depression, real PTSD. And you know what? It's one of the most human portrayals of a superhero ever put on screen. But Thor rises again. He summons Mjolnir from the past, and it flies into his hand. "I'm still worthy. Even broken, even lost, even after losing everything, he is still worthy." Chris Hemsworth transformed Thor from a stiff, serious god into one of Marvel's most beloved characters. He gave him humor, depth, and pain. Thor in Ragnarok and Love and Thunder is the perfect balance of power and vulnerability. Doctor Strange, the wizard who saw the end. Stephen Strange, a brilliant neurosurgeon, arrogant, selfish, obsessed with himself. Then a car accident. His hands destroyed. His career over. His life shattered. He spends all his money trying to fix his hands. Experimental procedures, surgeries around the world. Nothing works. In desperation, he travels to Kathmandu to meet the Ancient One, who reveals the world of magic. And here's the key. Strange didn't seek magic to save the world. He sought it to fix himself. He was selfish to the very end. But magic changes him. Benedict Cumberbatch once said, "Strange is a man who thinks he has all the answers, until he meets questions science cannot solve." Magic breaks his worldview and forces him to rebuild himself. In Infinity War, Strange does something incredible. He uses the Time Stone to look into 14,605 possible futures. And in only one of them, they win. Tony Stark asks, "How many do we win?" Strange answers, "One." That is the heaviest burden a man can carry. Strange knows what must happen. He knows Tony must die, and he cannot tell anyone, or the plan will fail. When Strange raises one finger in Endgame, that one gesture tells Tony, "This is the only way." And Tony understands. He sacrifices himself. What makes Strange fascinating is that he's a wizard who thinks like a scientist. He doesn't just wave his hands. He calculates every spell. In his battle with Thanos on Titan, he combines physics, geometry, logic. He turns magic into science. In Multiverse of Madness, we see Strange's darker side. There are versions of him who became villains, versions who destroyed entire universes. Our Strange constantly walks the line between hero and monster, and that makes him dangerous and unpredictable. The final word. 5 legendary Avengers. 5 completely different journeys. Tony Stark, the genius who sacrificed himself with a snap. Bruce Banner, the traumatized scientist who learned to live with his monster. Steve Rogers, the man out of time who never quits. Thor, the god who lost everything and found himself again. Stephen Strange, the wizard who saw the only path to victory. Each has their own pain, their own price for power, their own reason to fight. Now the question is, which hero do you want to explore next? Which stories, which facts interest you most? Maybe you want to learn more about Black Widow, or Hawkeye, or maybe new heroes, Shang-Chi, the Eternals, Black Panther. Write in the comments which character you want in the next video, and I'll make a deep dive episode with even crazier facts. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe for more Marvel content, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.